What if I told you that a tiny change in your vision, something you might just brush off as needing new glasses, was actually a major signal from deep inside your body? Well, today, we're diving into that surprising connection between your eyes and your metabolic health. So let's just start with this big question right here. Are your eyes trying to send you a warning signal that you might be missing? Let's figure out how to decode that message. All right, first up, let's talk about this idea of your eyes being a window to your health. It's a pretty powerful thought, isn't it? That the very things we use to look at the world can also give us a peek at what's happening inside us. And this is really the heart of it. A lot of us chalk up blurry vision or needing a stronger prescription to just, getting older. But it turns out it can actually be one of the very first signs of a metabolic issue, especially when it comes to how your body is handling sugar. So that brings us right to the body's silent signal. We need to get what's happening at the root of the problem, the thing your eyes might be trying to flag for you. And that problem is high blood sugar. Okay, so let's break down how this works. On the left, you've got a healthy cell. Think of insulin as the key. It unlocks the cell's door, glucose walks right in, and you get energy. Simple. But now look at the right. With an insulin-resistant cell, that key doesn't work anymore. The door is basically jammed shut, and the glucose is locked out. So what happens to all that glucose that's locked out? It doesn't just vanish. It gets stuck, just floating around in your bloodstream. And that buildup of sugar, that is the hidden danger that kicks off all the problems we're about to get into. Okay, so how in the world does sugar floating in your blood actually hurt your eyes? Let's connect those dots and get into the science behind the damage. It's really this chain reaction. It starts with high blood sugar. That extra sugar in your system creates something called oxidation. The easiest way to think about it is like cellular rust, seriously. And just like rust on a car, this oxidation starts to damage your body's tissues. And where does this rust do the most damage? Well, it targets the incredibly delicate, super intricate parts of your eye, specifically the lens and the retina. I mean, think about it. These parts are working all the time. They're exposed to light. It makes them really, really sensitive to this kind of oxidative attack. And we're not talking about minor issues here. The long-term result of this damage can be really serious. We're talking about conditions like cataracts, where the lens of your eye gets cloudy, and even diabetic retinopathy, which is actual damage to the blood vessels in the back of your eye. Okay, that all sounds pretty intense, but the story doesn't just end with damage. So let's talk about a potential solution, a way to be proactive. Let's talk about a protective shield. Now, one of the protective nutrients that comes up in the source material is something called benfotiamine. It's a special fat-soluble form of vitamin B1, and that fat-soluble part is super important. It helps it get into your cells way more effectively so it can actually do its job. So what is its job? Well, this quote really says it all. It's described as a powerful antioxidant to protect the eyes from high glucose damage. So it directly takes on the problem we've been talking about. So if you go back to that cellular rust idea, you can think of benfotiamine as the protective shield. It helps defend those super delicate cells in your lens and retina from the exact stress that high sugar is creating. All right, let's bring this all home. We've gone through a lot, so let's just boil it all down to the absolute key takeaways, the things you really want to remember from all this. So here's what to remember. First, your eyes really can be a window into your metabolic health. Second, that hidden danger is high blood sugar, and it causes that cellular rust we talked about. Third, that rust specifically targets the delicate lens and retina in your eye. And finally, the good news is that antioxidants, like benfotiamine, can act like a shield to offer some protection. And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought. Realizing your eyes can be signaling these deeper issues is a pretty wild idea. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If your eyes are sending these kinds of messages, what else is your body trying to tell you? It's a great reminder to just listen a little more closely to those subtle signs our bodies give us every day.